All right, Ethan Skolnick here from American Airlines Arena before the Miami Heat played the Atlanta Hawks. Make sure to check out our YouTube channel, our 5 on the Floor YouTube channel. I already posted a video, but now I've got Sidney here. Alphonse Sidney, you can follow him at Alf954, one of my co-hosts for the 5 on the Floor podcast. So, Alf, big news today, pretty obvious. Jimmy Butler's back, birth of his daughter, Riley. Jimmy was in the locker room before the game. He's all geeked up. And, I think this feels to me a little bit like a second home opener. Like we had a home opener, it went really well, and now here's the featured attraction.
It's almost like it was an extra long preseason, right? Mm-hmm. So those first 3 games, you had the guys, Justice, Bam, some of the supporting cast, whatever you want to call them, really get in their groove. We saw the game on Sunday night. We kind of all realized, man, it's not a throwaway game. They showed grit and resolve, but they had some tired legs. So now these guys they figured out their roles, and now it's like now you're adding a top 15 player to the mix, and that can never be a bad thing. And what they really missed over the weekend was a closer. And we all know who's going to be the closer on this team. They got their closer back. This is going to be a really exciting night. I can tell the fans are jacked up.
Yeah, no doubt. And we're waiting on the starting lineup. That'll be here any minute. But we're anticipating Kendrick Nunn will continue to start with Jimmy Butler. Obviously, Justice, Winslow, and Bam Adebayo. I would assume the 5th starter is still going to be Myers Leonard. But if you're going to make a change, the time to make a change is when you're inserting somebody else into the starting lineup. So I guess there's a possibility it could be Kelly Olynyk. Again, we're waiting over the next few minutes. Tyler Hero goes to the bench. Big news with Tyler Hero. He got a haircut. Jimmy Butler's been giving him a hard time about that hair, and I was talking to Tyler a little bit before the game. The starting 5, again, we're expecting Myers Leonard to be in there. But, yeah, he got a haircut. He laughed a little bit about whether Jimmy's going to get off his back with it. Also, Tyler Hero, by the way, loves our T-shirts. So go to 5reasonsports.com.
Awesome.
He loves the Bucket Brothers T-shirts, even though it is based on Miami Vice, and he's never seen Miami Vice, so he didn't understand the reference. But Tyler Hero going back to the bench, Alf, I feel like this is going to be good for him. I thought he was forcing some things in the starting lineup. Now he's going to play some with Jimmy, obviously, when he comes off the bench. But also, I feel like they're going to be able to feature him a little bit more. I felt, again, they're starting to take some things away from him, especially off those curls. Maybe he can relax a little bit not being a starter.
Well, we've seen he does have a good rapport with Goran Dragic. The bench needed another scoring punch after Goran, especially with Derek Jones Jr. out, Dion Waiters off with not with the team. I think he might be with the team, just not dressed. No James Johnson, so they did need another scoring punch off the bench. So it's great that they have Tyler. I did like the spacing involved with Justice and Hero in the backcourt. But the one thing you have to say right now is Kendrick Nunn has been the better player.
Yes.
Kendrick Nunn, and also we have to realize Kendrick Nunn is 5 years old, not being 3 years older. 3 or 4 years older.
He's 5 years older, actually.
So he's 5 years older than Tyler Hero. We have to account for that. So the guy is more game ready. He's more NBA ready than Tyler Hero is right now. I think Tyler Hero has played well, but like you said, him starting off against some second units, getting his feet underneath him, I think will be a really good thing.
Yeah, I talked to Kendrick Nunn a little bit before the game, had a couple moments with him, and asked him, I said, have you noticed the scouting report changing on you? Teams try to take certain things away. And he said, no, he really hasn't felt it yet. And I actually said to him, I said, well, you don't really have a definitive weakness. We talk about, the idea of Tyler Hero may have some weaknesses right now you can exploit, some of them related to youth. Kendrick Nunn kind of does everything at an above-average level. Like, I don't think he does anything at an elite level, but he does everything at an above-average level. It makes it difficult to take certain things away. He's similar to Bam Adebayo in that way, where it's just like, okay, what are you going to take away from him? I think Kendrick Nunn's going to be fine. I don't think there's going to be some magical – like everybody's asking me, is this like a Jeremy Lin thing? There were clear holes in Jeremy Lin's game that over time, after a month, people figured out. I don't think there really is with Kendrick Nunn, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. You mentioned this, Waiters. I don't think Waiters is going to be with the team tonight, nor is James Johnson. And this is now 1 month for James Johnson since he was sent home. This is more than just wait. I'm sorry. You're sending him home for a month. I saw Derek Jones Jr. walking in the locker room before the game, so it doesn't look like the groin injury is all that. Even so, you and I talked about it. They could use James Johnson without Derek Jones Jr. playing tonight and still not available to them. I just think we have to assume Dion Waiters and James Johnson at the moment are just not in the plans.
They're not in the plans. That would seem obvious, especially for the short term. I would assume that right now you probably could say they're both on the trading block. We've heard some rumblings about that, some rumors out there. Nothing that we've confirmed, but right now they're going with the guys that are here, right? And they're looking at the guys that they have on the bench, and for the first three games, they feel like they've had enough, and they just added Jimmy Butler. And going back to Kendrick Nunn, I mean, how do you game plan? How do you game plan for Kendrick Nunn right now when Jimmy Butler's back in the lineup? So Kendrick Nunn probably will get a couple more games of a honeymoon before teams really start zeroing in on him. Because right now the worry is about what are we going to do with Jimmy Butler. Right now, I think Jimmy Butler's return affects Justice Winslow the most. I think we've talked about this a little bit before because Justice was really leading this team offensively and defensively. So now he's going to have to work with Jimmy. And the thing is, Jimmy and Justice seem to have a good rapport. Jimmy doesn't seem like a guy who demands the ball all game long. I think they're going to be able to work together, and I think you're going to see, if this is a close game, you're going to see where Jimmy Butler really adds value to this team.
All right, a couple questions are coming in. One, is Derek Jones Jr. playing? He's not, but again, he was walking without discomfort in the locker room. I don't think that's going to be a long-term injury. He's just walking around in shorts. It looked like he just gotten a workout done. Also, Myers Leonard, as you can see there on the screen, confirmed as a starter tonight. So still a starter, but I will say this. Myers has got to knock down some shots because defensively there's been some problems there. The big issue tonight, we'll close with this. Trae Young, player of the week in the NBA. And, we talk about that trade, Luka Doncic. This is one of the rare trades where it looks like both teams made out. Like, those two. The problem is in Phoenix right now with DeAndre Ayton, right? Like, it's not with those two guys. They've both been terrific. With Trae Young, how do they play him tonight? Does Justice guard him all the way through, or maybe start Kendrick Nunn on him and Justice and Jimmy in the moments that matter?
I think it starts with Kendrick Nunn. And now the thing is, Trae Young is going to get his. That's one of the things you have to realize. There's not a lot of things you can do defensively. You can frustrate him, and you can force him into turnovers, which is going to be big. You want to get him up there 4, 5, 6, 7 turnovers. The biggest thing Kendrick Nunn is going to have to do is go at him on the other end because Trae Young is not a good defender. Listen, I don't think I'm breaking news here. Tyler Hero lit him up in preseason. So Kendrick Nunn, Tyler Hero, these guys that Trae Young is guarding on the other end of the floor, they have to put that pressure on him to counterbalance some of that scoring threat that he provides. If they don't do that, it's going to be a long night.
Yeah, the other matchup to watch, Collins inside against Adebayo. Been a lot of conversation about who was the guy you should have picked there, right? Collins got off to the fastest start in his NBA career basically because the minutes were there. Now the minutes are there for Bam. I think he's going to show what he can do. So check out 5reasonsports.com after the game. We appreciate the comments that have come in here. Obviously, we try to pay attention to all of them. 5 on the Floor podcast coming out tonight after the game. We're going to do that with Alex Toledo, and then I'll probably, if I get around to it, I'll write a column tonight. Alphonse, Sidney, Ethan J. Skolnick. Follow us at 5 Reasons Sports.
Okay, guys, thank you for listening to this broadcast. Now, let's try to see if Alex can listen to us. Alex, are you there?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You're live now. Alex, we have a minute. We want to talk about Jimmy Butler and his debut tonight. What would you expect from him? You're on your way to the arena. You're almost there. What would you expect for the Jimmy Butler's debut tonight at the American Airlines Arena?
I don't think he's going to go too crazy. Like, I don't think he's going to try to put up a crazy amount of shots. But I could totally see him, going for a nice 20, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and a W. That's what I'm expecting, more importantly.
All right. Which player you think would be more affected by Jimmy Butler's comeback or debut tonight?
Definitely going forward, it would have to be one of Justice or Kendrick Nunn. Just because Kendrick Nunn probably has a shorter leash than Justice in the sense that, he had a lot of freedom to do what he wanted with Jimmy out and, Tyler playing at the 3, acting as a shooter. Same thing with Myers Leonard, where Jimmy and Justice are going to be doing a lot of the ball handling now. But then at the same time, Justice, he looks at his best when when he's the point guard. He's kind of just in control of everything. And I do have a little bit of thoughts in the back of my head about how much is he going to try to defer to Jimmy Butler. I do think it'll be fine overall, but I could totally see some nights where he takes 8 shots and he only makes 3, and
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't have a big amount of assists. Just like I think it'll be a little bit up and down sometimes, whereas people might expect a little bit more from Winslow. But I just don't think he's at the point where he's consistent enough on offense, even though he's been good on offense so far. But at the same time, he's shooting 40% from the field. So it's like they'll go up, but I do kind of see him being inconsistent on offense at times this year.
Okay, we have a question here from one of our listeners right now. TH Spana7 says, "How do you think Jimmy's return will affect Adebayo's play?"
Oh, that's going to be huge for Bam. I think it's just going to make things easier for Bam. He's already been like a standout, with his defensive work on Giannis and Karl Anthony Towns, but also putting up a stat line of 15 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists. He said he wants to average 6, and I think it's only going to be easier for him once Jimmy is back in the lineup. He now has somebody else who's going to make it easier for him to get to those assists. He has somebody who's going to make it way easier to get him to those lobs, which I think we're going to see a lot of this year because the Heat this is the most athletic Heat team we've seen in a while. And giving him another all-star playmaker like that is going to open things up for everybody, most especially for Bam. I think the Jimmy Bam pick and roll is going to be something we see going forward a lot. I think they're going to really like playing next to each other.
All right. Luciano Coronel asked if you think Winslow will start, but then get sat early to run him with the second unit along with Tyler Hero. Do you think that's a plan for Eric Spoelstra?
I don't know about that. I wouldn't be. I mean, Spoke, I'm not, has tried these types of things before, but I'm still expecting them to run out as their second unit, a lineup that revolves around Goran Dragic, Tyler Hero, and Kelly Olynyk, because they're kind of, splitting up the responsibility so that the bench doesn't have to, do too much work when they come in. They're going to try to have lineups out there all the time that they really like with some of their better players. And I think an offense off the bench with Goran, Hero, and Olynyk is going to be real potent. You're obviously going to have to put 2 plus defenders next to them, which might be tough because they're missing James Johnson still. They're missing Derrick Jones Jr. still. And you want to put good defenders next to those guys. But I think that's the plan going forward right now because Dion is out, because James Johnson is out.
Okay. Well, thank you, Alex. This is some of your questions here. Let me see. When's Derrick Jones Jr. coming back? We don't know yet. You see him fitting with Bam Adebayo, Justin Winslow, and Jimmy Butler. You think they can play together along with Derrick Jones Jr.?
That might be just one of the most fun defensive lineups on the Heat, and that's going to be that. Good luck scoring on that lineup, man. But I totally think it could work just because you maybe put a shooter with those 4, and I think you could totally make it work because, Winslow and Jimmy can give you some shooting, and I just think it's really athletic. It's really big. You'll be able to probably take advantage of some mismatches there, and just like overwhelmingly athletic. it'll be tough to stop that in some bursts. Not as a closing lineup, but I would definitely see that.
For sure. Edward Shaw the third asks, you think the Heat zone will be needed this year?
I think Spo's going to use it as a tool for, whenever he wants to crowd the paint versus a team that he's saying, we'd rather you shoot, even if you do have shooters. For example, the Sixers, right? Like the Sixers, although like Jay Rich and Tobias Harris and Al Horford can all shoot, their main points of offense are going to be from Embiid and Simmons operating in the paint. So maybe you say, all right, let Horford jack up all those threes, and Richardson and Tobias, those guys like have all around scoring games more than they are like knockdown 3-point shooters, right? They're not JJ Redick. But I could totally, I think it's going to be a matchup based thing, just like it is. It's going to be, I think, with the rotation. Like some nights you might see Dion and JJ, another night you might see Myers. I think the luxury of having all this depth is the fact that you can change it up, whether you're talking about the scheme or the rotation on a night-by-night basis.
Talking about JJ and Dion, when do you think they're going to be back, at least on the bench?
So is Dion's not going to be on the bench tonight?
No, he's not back yet.
So why? So if he didn't participate in shoot around, he's not going to play. He's not on the bench. How is he reinstated?
Well, I don't know.
But I'm not sure, man. It's a weird situation going on there. They obviously Uh, didn't like Dion complaining on the bench about his minutes. They
Probably,
probably
yeah.
didn't like those Instagram comments. They probably didn't like, just his general attitude towards working his way back in.
Yeah.
Uh, and James Johnson, I just have no clue. Like I don't know how far he is from his body fat percentage that the Heat wanted to be at.
Yeah.
But like I said, I hope they get those guys back sooner rather than later. I want to see them actually try to prove themselves first before we count them out.
Yeah. Alex Toledo, last one before you get to the arena because I know you're close there.
Yep.
Um, how much longer? Another guy asking here. How much longer will Leonard start? He's been a defensive liability.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's been point of contention with me and Alf because, and I don't really like. I could totally see what Alf is saying, right? Myers has a slightly higher rebound rate than Kelly Olynyk for their careers. It's not a big difference, but
Yeah.
I get why you would want to put Myers next to Bam because of the fact that he's such a defensive liability
Yeah.
that maybe you put him next to you put him next to Jimmy and Justice and Bam like the best defenders on your team.
Hmm.
Maybe that helps a little bit. He's a more consistent shooter than Kelly is, even though Kelly's the better player on both ends. And I think we're gonna keep seeing it until basically it stops being effective, which, like I said, they could change this on a night to night basis if they wanted to. They can roll with Kelly one night, Myers another night. But I
Yeah.
think this has more to do with what I said before. That I think because maybe they wanted the playmaking off the bench to be going to Dion originally, and that's not going to be the case anytime soon. That they're going to use Olynyk as that help facilitator slash playmaker off the bench. Not that he's going to be doing a lot of handling, but he helps get the offense going. So I think that's the main reason Spo likes that look off the bench. And the other thing is the Heat are kind of small
Alex, you there?
sometimes, and
All right. Okay.
hello.
Well, thank you to Alex Toledo. You can listen to him after the game. They're going to do a special podcast after
Man.
the Jimmy Butler's debut with the Miami Heat. So thank you, Alex. He's going to be in the arena with Ethan Skolnick and Alphonse Sidney for this fourth game of the Miami Heat season. Thank you to all of you guys that wrote here some comments. Some people talking about the Dolphins. We don't talk about Dolphins today. We talked a lot about them yesterday. But here you go. Thank you for all your comments. And remember, this is the starting five for tonight. Bam Adebayo, Myers Leonard, Jimmy Butler, Kendrick Nunn, and Justice Winslow will be starting today for the Miami Heat. And remember, you can buy your Jimmy Canastas t-shirts at 5reasonsports.com. Just go to 5reasonsports.com, hit merchandise, and you can purchase not only this shirt, but you can find the Udonis t-shirt, the Tyler Hero t-shirt that Ethan Skolnick was talking about. And if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to this channel and enjoy all our Miami Heat content. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.